What's good, y'all? It's your humble Rōnin here with another live episode of Lounge Rōnin, all things, everything. Should probably fix that thumbnail while I'm at it. Oh, Lord. Let me fix that thumbnail real quick. But you know the deal. You know what's up. It's been a while. Been having some technical difficulties. But we're back. I apologize for the lawnmower in the background. But they should be wrapping up soon. So, without further ado, let us get into today's breaking news. Oh God, I gotta fix this thumbnail as well. Man, I'm slacking today. I apologize. All right. Scientists have discovered that the 31 Atlas, a Manhattan-sized interstellar object that potentially has alien tech. So if you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and let us cover the article. Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay. And we're back. Okay, so actually, before we get into it, this guy on the far left, we're going to cover this video at the end. I apologize. Let me wait till the lawnmower passes. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know why they have decided to spend... Jesus. Okay, we're good. Apologies. These are some lazy ass yard workers. I don't know why they decided to start now. They've been here since like, I don't know, 8 in the morning. Anyways. Okay. So this guy all the way on the far left, right here. We're going to be reading his article right now. So, and his name is Avi Loeb. And it was published September 24th, 2025. And it says, news on 31 Atlas. Lack of non-gravitational acceleration implies an anomalous massive object. All right. Breaking news. The interstellar object 31 Atlas is anonymously massive and large. In a new paper accessible here that I co-authored with Richard Glote and Peter Verez, we use data on the motion of 31 Atlas as complied by the Minor Planet Center between May 15th and September 23rd, 2025, to set an upper limit on the deviation of 31 Atlas from a trajectory sculpted by gravity alone. The net upper limit on residuals is 0.028 arcseconds, taking account for 4,022 observations over a period of several months, implying that the non-gravitational acceleration of 31 Atlas was smaller than 15 meters per day squared. The total mass, loss rate, and outflow speed from its surface were inferred with the Webb Space Telescope data on August 6, 2025. Given that the rocket effect is not noticeable, the mass of 31 Atlas must be bigger than 33 billion tons. Consequently, the diameter of its solid density nucleus must be larger than 5 kilometers. This suggests that 31 Atlas is more massive than the other two interstellar objects, 11 Oumuamua and 21 Borisov, by 3 to 5 orders of magnitude, constituting a major anomaly. Given the limited reservoir of heavy elements, we should have discovered on the order of 100,000 interstellar objects on the 0.1 kilometer scale of 11 Oumuamua before finding 31 Atlas, yet we only detected 2 interstellar objects previously. Keep in mind, there is going to be a little bit of some scientific jargon, so just letting you guys know. But I'm into that kind of stuff, so deal with it. Our analysis compared the evolution in the observed sky positions of 31 Atlas to the trajectory expected from gravity alone. The optical astrometric data span 4,022 individual measurements from 227 observations worldwide. The comparison to be expected sky positions provided a net upper limit of 0.28 arcseconds in sky position shifts during the 4.5 months between May 15th and September 23rd, 2025. A stymetric trend is unlikely to be affected by shifts in the centroid of light owing to the development of bright spot away from the nucleus of 31 Atlas. The highest resolution image of 31 Atlas taken by the Hubble telescope July 21st, 2025. Ooh, man, let's take a look at that real quick. Oh, good Lord. Wait, here it is. Here are the images. So if you're interested, this is the full scientific paper. I'm just reading from the article that breaks down the scientific paper. But this right here, if you're interested, is the article. I'll put it down in the description as well. But this is the object that they are observing. Let's continue. An optically thin anti-tail in the direction of the sun, which persisted during July and most of August. On August 27, 2025, imaging by the Gemini South Telescope revealed the growth of a faint tail from 31 Atlas away from the sun. Throughout the entire period, the brightest point remained centered on the nucleus. Interesting. Over a short time interval t, a non-gravitational acceleration a, result in positional shift that grows as 0.5 mathematical equation. Listen, I'm not that kind of mathematical expertise, so we're just going to go with that. 0.5 equation. Given that distance of 31 Atlas from Earth in mid-August was 2.6 times the Earth-Sun separation. Listen, I also like to pretend like I know what they're talking about. Okay, it's cool. Our upper limit on the sky position shift translates to an upper limit on the non-gravitational acceleration, 8 to 15 meters per day squared. Momentum conservation implies that 31 Atlas must be massive in order not to be pushed back by the flow of material from its warmed sun-facing side. I assumed a high collination of evaporated materials because the glow of scattered light in the Hubble Space Telescope image was twice longer towards the sun than it is wide at a viewing angle of 10 degrees. Mathematical equation: the elongation of the plume ahead of 31 Atlas must have been 10 times longer than it is wide. This jet-like structure suggests a high culmination. The product of mass loss rate and the outflow speed divided by the upper limit on the non-gravitational acceleration sets a lower limit on the object's mass. The Webb telescope data taken on August 6, 2025 implies a total loss rate of 150 kilograms per second and an outflow speed of 440 meters per second. This thing sounds like it's been highly designed to deal with gravitational anomalies and acceleration through space. Now, we can get into whether space is real or not. I'm under the impression that it's a little bit of space is real and it's a little bit of dimensional overdraft. I don't know how to explain it, but that's what that's how I'm thinking at the moment. But let's continue. Given these values, our upper limit on the non-gravitational acceleration shields a minimum mass of 33 billion tons per 31 Atlas, billion tons for 31 Atlas. A solid density, this implies a minimum diameter of 5 kilometers for the nucleus of 31 Atlas. This minimum diameter is close to the upper bound of range of 0.44 to 5.6 kilometers inferred from the Hubble telescope data. It is an order of magnitude larger than the inferred diameter of the interstellar comet 21 Borisov. A large nuclear mass for 31 Atlas exacerbates the tensions between interstellar mass receiver or rocky material ejected from exemplary systems and implied detection rate of interstellar objects of its size, as I derived in a paper published shortly after the discovery of 31 Atlas. The passage of 31 Atlas near Mars on October 3, 2025 will allow the high-rise camera on board the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to achieve a pixel resolution of 30 kilometers. The amount of sunlight reflected from the brightest pixel in the high-rise image will constrain further the nuclear surface area for an assumed albedo value. Additional constraints can be obtained on March 16, 2026, when 31 Atlas will pass in approximately to Juno spacecraft near Jupiter as proposed. Anyways, we're going to read that. But yeah, it's going to pass by Jupiter. The mass of 31 Atlas scales with its diameter cubed. If the nucleus diameter of 31 Atlas will be found to be larger than 5 kilometers in the high-rise image, then an origin associated with the interstellar mass reservoir of rocky material will be unintendable. An alternative technological origin could explain the rare alignment of the trajectory 31 Atlas with ecliptic plane and without iron, and has found industrial manufactured alloys. So you're saying that 31 Atlas has manufactured materials on board, or it's I should say not on board, ironic, right? But it's the way that it's designed, the way it's constructed, it seems like it's industrially manufactured. And here's the kicker. Given this tight upper limit on non-gravitational acceleration, a future detection of major maneuver of 31 Atlas would suggest propulsion by a technologically manufactured engine. So if this object does a major maneuver in conjunction with its trajectory in order to stay on course, or in order to avoid a foreign object, or a various type of interstellar storm or what have you, then that would suggest that this thing has a engine on it, that it is on target, that it's being operated. Now, funny enough, this object reminds me of a new movie that's going to be coming out with Ryan Gosling, and it's called Project Hail Mary. And the essential concept of the film is that, and it's based off a novel, is Ryan Gosling is a science teacher at a middle school. Turns out this theory that he came up with is correct. There are all these universes dying, and Earth is up on the chopping block. But there's one universe where it's not being affected. So they send him out into space to go figure out what's going on. Yes, a middle school teacher. And he ends up running into a giant rock ship. Okay, he finds a rock ship. It's literally a ship that's literally a rock, but it's clearly designed for interstellar travel. And on board, he meets a rock species of intelligence. And they become space buddies. That's essentially what the trailer presented to us. And they essentially go together to find out about this one galaxy where this weird space anomaly isn't affecting them. So I'm under the impression that, like, you have to know that Hollywood has, well, I should say the CIA and NASA and probably other federal agencies have offices in Hollywood. And a lot of our science and military films have to go through those offices to get approval for various concepts, ideas, what have you. And, it's kind of funny how this scientist who came up with this observation, he's kind of been mocked and ridiculed for a while. He was on Joe Rogan, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. He was on Joe Rogan, and he was like, hey, something's coming. I don't know what it is. It's clearly of intelligent design, the way its trajectory, the way it's moving. There's something about it that gives off intelligent design. So it's kind of ironic that right now the government is shut down. This article came out just before the government shutdown. And he works outside of the government, so it's not like it necessarily affects us. But it's kind of ironic that federal telescopes are now shut down, so you can't really look into the sky unless you have your own high-powered telescope, or unless you're part of a university or have the funding and the means. And I was listening to a Spaces on Twitter, and someone casually made the joke, what if this interstellar object has some sort of connection with the government shutdown, and that we won't be able to get better imaging of it and see what we're actually looking at, which is a pretty good conspiracy. I find it very ironic, this whole situation, because I covered several years ago on my channel about an alleged spaceship that landed on the moon, and then it left the moon. Now, when independent telescopes were observing this, they reached out to all the various space agencies. Were like, hey, there's a spacecraft. We've been observing it. It just landed on the moon, and then it took off from the moon. And none of the space agencies were like, we don't have anything in space right now, and we don't have anything that can do that. So that leads to the speculation that there is more going on in our skies than we're led to believe, obviously. I will put that live stream down in the comments for you guys to check it out as well if you're interested. But it was a fascinating article because it didn't get any real news coverage. I mean, at that time, it should have been breaking news. I think it happened in 2022, 2021. It should have been breaking news. It should have been like massive. This, an unidentified spacecraft landed on the moon and then took off. But no one wanted to talk about it. Not a peep. Let's see. Maybe I can pull it up real quick. It's from The Guardian. No, they don't have it. Oh, man. Let me see. Maybe I can go to my YouTube channel. I actually kind of want to pull it up real quick. Oh, why am I doing that? I'm going to pull it up because I know for a fact that I covered this a long time ago. Let's see if we can find. Let's see if we can find it. Here we go. Mystery rocket lands on the moon. Did I put the article in here? Oh, it was CBS News? No, it wasn't this one. What? No, that's not it. What? Okay, I can't find it right now. But that's not the article. See, you know what? Wait, let me see. Hold on. Let me pull this up. And then let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. USA Today. Yeah, found a new rocket impact site. This is it. I knew I wasn't crazy. Let me get to the title of the article. Yeah, here we go. A mystery rocket body that crashed into the moon is baffling NASA. According to NASA, astronomers discovered a rocket body heading toward a lunar collision late last year. Impact that occurred on March 4th, and NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter spotted the crash site on the moon's surface shortly after. New images shared on June 24th by NASA show a snapshot of the site. The crash landing left behind a double crater more than 90 feet wide, the Space Administration reported in a news release. According to the Space Administration, two large masses on each end of the rocket may have caused the craters, but it noted that the impact marks highly unusual. Hold on now. Hold on. Okay? This article gets really funny. This article gets really funny. According to the Space Administration, two large masses on each end of the rocket may have caused the craters, but it noted that the impact marks are highly unusual. Typically, a spent rocket mass is concentrated at the motor end, and the rest of the rocket stage mainly consists of empty fuel tanks. Since the origin of the rocket body remains uncertain, the double nature of the crater may indicate its identity. All right, there's the image of the crater. Best part, where's the rocket? You said it crash landed. And it happened, this happened. They didn't even, anyways, I'm not even going to get into all that stuff. But they say it's a rocket, right? You saw that. The first part of the article, they said, no space-faring, here's the best part. No space-exploring nations have claimed responsibility for the projectile, which leaves scientists baffled about who was behind its launch. Huh? Well, that's a little weird. That's a little weird, right? Then, let me see, I'm trying to see if I can find it. At one point in the article, they then claim they don't have it. I can't find it, but I'm not going to find it. But they then claim in the article near the end that it wasn't a rocket. They started off the article claiming that some rocket landed on the moon, and then right halfway through the article, like near the end, they then switch it up and say, oh, it wasn't a rocket. That happened in like 2021. No one talked about it. No one talked about it. But then you have this situation going on, and then everyone's mocking it and making fun of it. But then back in 2021, 2022, a rocket landed on the moon, left a 90-foot wide crater, and then it took off and bounced. And no space agency have claimed it. So what are we doing here? Is 13 Atlas an unusually massive comet with an unusually chemical composition on an unusually rare trajectory or alien technology? In both cases, the object could shed CO2 and H2O ices from material that collected on its frozen surface as it plowed through interplanetary and interstellar space. We should not decide about the nature of 31 Atlas based on the chemical composition of its skin, for the same reason that we should not judge a book by its cover. Hopefully we will know more in the coming weeks. Stay curious. As Galileo Galilei instructed us, scientific truth is revealed by data, not by authority. And there you have it. There's the author. He was on Joe Rogan. If you're interested, Avi Loeb, you can check it. You can look it up on Joe Rogan if you're interested in hearing more about him. Now, we're going to jump over to this video right here. That's Avi Loeb. We just read his article. And this is Rep. Tim Butch just gave us an alien disclosure from a horse barn. And it's in relation to the interstellar object that's going to be passing by us pretty soon. So let's tune in and hear what they have to say.
That suggests that there are perhaps deep water alien bases right now sitting on the ocean floor on this planet. Is that accurate?
I would say that's pretty accurate.
Can you go into more detail? How long have they been here? Where are they?
Well, I'm extrapolating all this with my East Tennessee vernacular. So we've got five or six deep water areas of our oceans. We actually know more about the surface of the moon than we do about these areas. And these are areas where we have a high frequency of UFO or UAP sightings. We've had naval folks have told me pretty high up that they've actually tracked these things. Now, we have stuff that can go underwater probably 30 to 40 miles an hour, maybe something a little faster that the Chinese haven't stole from us yet. And we've tracked things big as a football field going 200 miles an hour. Now, I realize in the water you extrapolate that to knots and all that, but just for good old East Tennessee common sense, 200 miles an hour, something the size of a football field, and we don't know what it is. And these are in these areas, so yeah, there's something going on there. And whether it's something that's been here for millennial or whatever, and I'm not afraid of it. I'm kind of like Dr. Loeb. I love to study this kind of stuff. It's the scientific material there is he's the one that disclosed some things that were found that were extraterrestrial in our oceans, and he's brave enough, I believe, to come forward with those. So I'm looking forward to some more talks about this. But I think I've kicked the hornet's nest, because it was just in a casual conversation with a blogger, and I discussed it. It wasn't in a classified setting, so I could talk about it. But I always remember the last thing this one high-ranking official told me as he left my office. He was right close to me as I am to my phone in my barn right now, and he said, "Tim, they're real." He was right close to me as I am to my phone in my barn right now, and he said, "Tim, they're real." He was right close to me as I am to my phone in my barn right now, and he said, "Tim, they're real." He was right close to me as I am to my phone in my barn right now, and he said, "Tim, they're real."
He said, "Tim, they're real." I don't know how many times we're going to need government officials to just casually drop it to us. Hey, they're out there. They're real. There's something out there. They always say something like that. They'll say they're real, but they're demons. That's the other interpretation. Is either they're real and they're demons, or they're real and we need to learn more. That always seems to be the case in these situations. Now, there is another video. We're gonna do a reaction to this presentation, probably this week. Got to get that together. But a scientist, he put together a presentation about alien life and human origins. I listened to a little bit of it, and I really liked what he was saying. It sounded like a good one to look at. So we're going to cover that. But the point is that you have this scientist right here, Avi, who's telling you, hey, this object, the way its trajectory, it's not natural. It seems like it was calculated. It seems like there was some thought put into where it needs to go. And we have this weird situation. And then there was the former general from Canada who came out and said, hey, there's this intergalactic federation. There's, from what we've gathered so far, there was 21 different alien species. He made all these crazy claims. I'm not even going to try to look for the video right now, because it is you have to look for it. And I don't want to take up too much time trying to look for that video. So I'll save that video for when we cover that scientist's presentation about alien life and human connection. But there's been so many government, and whether or not you want to believe them, maybe they're lying, maybe they're bullshitting. It's entirely possible. But one thing that I find really interesting, that whether or not they're lying or they're bullshitting, there's always a consistency. And they always seem to fall in two types of categories, where they're demons, we shouldn't mess with it, we shouldn't touch it, or this is the next stage of human evolution and exploration, we need to uncover more. That seems to be the two pillars at the moment, and there's no in the middle. And those who are in the middle, their data, their research, it gets obfuscated, it gets pushed to the side, it gets suppressed, it gets bought out, they get eliminated, whatever it may be, for whatever reason. But we seem to have these two pillars, and anyone who's in the middle is looked more at as an outsider and as an instigator and a gaslighter than anything else. So that's just something that I think we as individuals, we really need to take into consideration and be really, really mindful about those types of implications. But, here it is for you. This was, I really wanted to read this and get this out there for you guys, because whether or not it will be revealed to us when it gets closer what this could be, who knows? But I thought it was important to have that conversation and just to bring this to you to light, and to bring you the actual data and information. There's no point in me reading the New York Times version of the article. Let's actually get the real information. That's one thing that I try to do more so of, is try to get who's the real article, the real person who actually originated these concepts or ideas or investigations. Because, when you try to go through the mainstream media, they filter it, they bullshit it, they do whatever they can to spin that narrative to gain their favor. So I really just wanted to bring that to light. I think it's an important conversation. And I think whatever is revealed to this will either make or break the future of human existence. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Lounge Rōnin. If you've made it this far, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And until next time, stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love.